Hey, hello everyone, this is Carlos again from Input Output in yet another tutorial. This time we're going to learn how to create a governance action from scratch using Cardano-CLI, Cardano Node, and Cardano Signer. So let me just walk you through what we are going to do now, or what we're going to do today during what we are going to cover during this tutorial or this course if you wish. So we have this prerequisites. You will need Cardano Node installed in your system, you will need Cardano CLI, and you will need Cardano Signer. We are going to install those tools, but this is not a tutorial about how to run Cardano Node. So if you need to understand more about how to run Cardano Node and how to use it, or how to configure it, please refer to developers.cardano.org. Here we have a section called Cardano Node, and we have components, installing Cardano Node, running Cardano Node, and a lot more information. So for running Cardano Node, you always need configuration files and Genesis files and stuff like that. There's detailed instructions on how to do that. In this case, I'm just going to take the assumption that you already know that, okay? So I am going to install those tools. That's going to be the first part of the tutorial. The second part will be the longest one, and we will be creating this governance action. When you create a governance action, you create a proposal, there are a few things that you need to consider or to add in your proposal. There are a few things that any kind of proposal must have. And any proposal must have a deposit. This is in mainnet, it is 100,000 ADA. You must supply with your proposal a reward account that is already registered on chain. And this will be very important for you because this is where the deposit goes back or it's returned when either your proposal is either expired or enacted on chain. The deposit goes back to that stake address. So again, if you don't know how to register your stake address, please refer to the Cardano CLI. We have Get Started, stake address registration. There's a very detailed tutorial on how to register the stake credential, the stake address here, okay? I'm gonna just assume that you already know that. If you don't know that, or if you have any questions, just join me on, drop me a message or ping me or whatever. You can join the Discord and ask questions there. But we are not going to be covering the registration part. We just want to get directly to the meat, which is submitting governance actions, okay? Another thing that every proposal must have is the governance action itself. The governance action is the purpose of this thing, the thing that you are wanting to change about the system, that is what you are not happy about, right? And it must have also an anchor. An anchor is comprised of two things. On one hand, we have a URL containing the file with some metadata, where the metadata contains the rationale, the justification for the change that you are proposing, and also the hash of that document. It is very important for verification purposes. Without that, tools downstream like GovTools, like the explorers, like the wallets, cannot validate that the information they are presenting to the users actually matches what was submitted to the chain, right? So this is very important part. And this is actually where we are going to start when we start creating the governance action. We're going to start creating the metadata for our governance action. We are going to create or generate the hash of it. And we are then going to be ready to create the governance action, the proposal, and submit it to the chain in a transaction. So we are going to store our anchor, the file that contains the metadata. We're going to store that in IPFS. We're going to learn how to do that very quickly. And also, in the end, we are just going to submit the proposal and verify that it is on chain see how it is rendered on GovTools, and see how it's presented in the different explorers. And hopefully by the end of this video, you can be proficient on creating a governance section of your own without depending on any other tools other than Cardano-CLI, Cardano Node, and Cardano Signer. And well, let's start. And we said that we're going to start by installing this tool. So for that, the first tool that we're going to install is Cardano Node and Cardano CLI. And for that, we come to Cardano Node repository, which is in github.com /MBO Cardano Node. I'm going to put all the links to the relevant materials on the description of the video, just so that you don't worry about that. And from here in Cardano Node, you go to releases, and you have here this tag 10.1.4, and it's marked as latest. So that's the one that we want. So here are the release notes, and at the bottom, you will find the assets. You will need to find your operating system, Linux, macOS, Windows. And in this case, I am on Linux. So let me just copy the link address, go to my terminal, and I am here, and let me just show you. I'm in a directory, which is my source directory, where I put all my files before when I am in the process of installing something, inside a directory of Cardano Node. And here I'm going to create another directory, which is 10.1.4. And from here, what I want to do is just download the binaries, copying the link address that I got from the repository. It's going to take a couple of seconds, 38 seconds from now. So once it's downloaded, we are just going to extract the binaries and put them in a directory that is already in our path. In my case, I will be using .localbean, but you can use any directory that is already in your path. If you need to know what is the path, well, just Google it and you will find it. PATH with capital letters, and you will find it in 3 seconds. So it's downloaded now. And from here, quick ls, you will see, oh, I put it on the wrong directory. So let me just Cardano move that into 10.1.4. Okay, now let me move into that directory, and there it is. So now here I'm ready to extract the binaries. So I just Cardano Node tar-xf to extract the binaries. This will put the binaries here in a bin folder. So let me get into the bin directory here. And those are all the binaries from different applications that are included or packed together with Cardano Node. We don't need all of these. The only things that we are going to need for today's tutorial is Cardano Node and Cardano CLI. So let me just copy Cardano Node and Cardano CLI into home.local bin. Okay. And if I do Cardano Node -- version, we get 10.14. And if I do Cardano CLI version, there it is, 10.110, which is the version that is packed together with this version of Cardano Node. And well, from here, we said that we will need Cardano Signer. What is Cardano Signer? Again, thank you, Martin Lang, for developing it. And it is a tool that will help us in a very particular piece of the process of creating our metadata. In particular, it will help us add our signature to part of the metadata that we actually, it's a good practice to actually sign it. So let me just get back a little bit to my source directory and get into Cardano Signer. Again, this is an empty directory for now, but it's not going to be empty for long, because what we're going to do now is come to github.com git match tl Cardano Signer. Sorry, I don't know how to pronounce this, Martin. I haven't asked, but that sounds reasonable. So the thing is, you come down here to releases. Again, there's the latest one. You go Cardano Signer, go to the assets, find your operating system and architecture, and copy link address, go back to the terminal, and we are going to download Cardano Signer, and we are going to repeat the process. We are going to download, extract, and put the binaries in a directory that is already in our path. So now it's downloaded. We can quickly check. We can do tar Cardano Signer, tar xf Cardano Signer. There you go, ls, and we just copy Cardano Signer into .local bin. Okay, there you go. If I do Cardano Signer version, it is 121, which is the version that we care about. So with that, we are done with the first part. We have installed our tools. Kind of. We now need to run the node. Again, if you need to learn about running the node, please come to developers.cardano.org, running Cardano node. Well, get started, Cardano node, running Cardano node, and you will get all the information that you need here. You will need configuration files, Genesis files, and a few other things. But for now, let's assume that you already know that. And all I'm going to do is start my node here in preview testnet. And I have a script for that. And this script will just start my node. One very important thing to do afterwards is, because we are going to use cardano-CLI, this requires a environment variable to be set. Oops. This. Control copy. Oh, Control Shift copy. Okay, sorry. Now, so you need to set this. This Cardano node socket path. This is basically a environment variable that points to the location of the socket that you created when you run the node. So let me just set that. And another environment variable that is very useful is the Cardano node network ID. This will prevent you from having to use the network magic flag all the time when using Cardano-CLI. So we are saying that the Cardano node network ID is number 2, and this is the network ID of the preview testnet. So we just do that. And with that, we can use Cardano-CLI query pip. And yes, I was in sync really a few minutes ago. So basically, this is why I'm already in 100%. If you're just syncing from scratch, it will take probably 30-40 minutes, depending on a few factors. But in preview testnet, it's really quick to synchronize your node. So now we are in sync. We have installed the tools. And our goal for today is to create a governance action. Okay, so let's start with that. And we said that to create a governance action, we needed a few things. So again, you have tutorials here in developers.cardano.org. You can come to Cardano-CLI. In Cardano-CLI, you have tutorials for different things. Among them, you have CLI governance, submitting governance actions. And we said that the very first thing that we will need is to create the rationale, the justification for our proposal. But perhaps even before that, we need to think about what the hell do we want to change. So let's create one of the most complicated proposals that can exist, so that if you master this, you can do any kind of proposal, any kind. So for this tutorial, I think that a good idea will be to create a proposal for a protocol parameter change. And I'm thinking on changing the stake address deposit. So it has been in 2 ADA for so long, so let's make it 3, just for fun, basically, and for learning purposes. So we have our idea. We are going to change the protocol parameter, that is the stake address deposit, and we're going to change it from 2 to 3 ADA. That is the thing. So we need to create this anchor, and an anchor starts with the metadata. So let's create the metadata, and for that we need to adhere or to comply with SIP 100 and SIP 108. These Cardano improvement proposals define how the metadata should be structured. They define the schemas and how it should be structured so that downstream toolings know what they are talking about and can actually render it correctly, use the metadata correctly, and show it correctly, and validate things that need to be validated in a reasonable way. Okay, so let's start creating this metadata file. And the easiest way to start is going to Cardano improvement proposals, going to metadata governance actions. This is the SIP 108. And definitely, if you are interested on submitting a governance action, you definitely, for sure, you need to read this and make sure to understand it. It's not really easy, but it's not rocket science. We are going to try to simplify things here and to make it work. And for that, what I recommend as the best way to start is coming to the GitHub repository of the Cardano improvement proposals, find SIP 108, and apart from the text that we just saw before, it has a couple of examples or things that we can use as a starting point. In particular, I think a good starting point is this SIP 0108 common JSON LD. If you read SIP 108, you will understand what this JSON LD is for, and well, basically, it provides context for tools that need to interact with each other to know what they are talking about. In this case, we're going to use this one as our starting point. And from that, so what I just did is copy the URL of the raw. Again, let me just here. I'm going to the raw material here so that I can download the file directly into, let me go to the directory that I'm going to be using. So it is an empty directory for now. We are going to fill it up. And the first thing that we are going to put in this directory is this, let's say, a template where we are going to start from. So now we have that. Let me just open this file. And it is just what we saw. It's a JSON file, JSON LD to be precise. And we need to modify this to accommodate for our proposal itself. So we're going to add something else here. So we just basically need to add another field. And the very first field that we are going to add is the hash algorithm that we are going to use for something that you will find out later. Just for now, just add this hash algorithm, but not SHA. No, that's not good. Not good for us. We need to use Blake to be -256. Close the quotes, add a comma because we are going to add another field here. And the next field is going to be the body. And this is the most, this is the let me just turn down this disable completions for now. Okay. So we are going to fill out the body of our justification. This is the core of our proposal apart from the proposal itself or the governance action itself. So here is where we need to add our rationale, our justification, and we have a structure for that. We need to add a title, an abstract, and motivation, and a rationale. And that's exactly what we need to do. So we add a title here. We will fill it up in a minute. We will need an abstract. We will need a motivation, something like this, and finally we will need the rationale. Okay, something like this should do. Oops. Okay, I'm missing a column here, and this should work. Okay, so now, what's the title of our proposal? Well, change the stake address deposit to 3 ADA. Now, abstract. This proposes to make the stake address deposit to raise the stake address deposit from to 3 ADA. From 2 ADA to 3 ADA. Of course, if you care about making a proposal, you're going to spend some time thinking about this. Of course, for now, I'm just going to make it really quick and probably just silly, stupid things. But if you care enough to make a proposal, you will need to put really good time into writing a good abstract and a good motivation and a very good rationale for this. So my motivation in this case is I need a governance section for this tutorial. And the rationale is this is the most interesting type of governance section. Making stake address 3 ADA will be fun. Okay, now it's a stupid rationale, but this is not a tutorial on how to write a rationale, but rather, yeah, well, not how to write a good rationale, but just about how to write one. Okay, so this is just what we need for now. So let me just now file, save as, and I'm gonna save it with a different name. Let me just say stake deposit metadata. Let's say stake deposit proposal metadata JSON LD. Okay, so if I go back to my terminal here, I should see my file, and there it is. So this thing is almost ready to be submitted. We just need to add one more thing, which is the author. And sometimes it might be useful as an author of a governance action to actually sign this proposal with something that actually identifies us as the creators of the proposal. For example, let's say I am a DREP, and as a DREP, I have this proposal, and I have a good reputation in the community, and making this proposal is important for me so much that I put my name on it, and also I witness this with something that is verifiable by the community so that they know that it is me. So in this case, let's say that I am this DREP, and I am registered on chain, which I am not in this particular network, but basically what I'm going to do now is create some DREP keys, assuming those are those keys that identify me as a DREP on on this network, and I'm going to sign my proposal or the metadata of my proposal with my direct keys. Let me just first create those keys very quickly. Cardano-CLI governance, Conway governance, direct keygen. So for those that are new in the Cardano CLI, every time you need to find some help, you just type whatever part of the command. Cardano CLI will give you the options you have. Cardano CLI Conway will give you the options you have. Governance will give you, again, the options you have for that subcommand. Direct will give you the options you have for that subcommand. And in this case, I want to generate my keys or my credentials, if you wish. So I'm going to generate my verification key file, and it's going to be drep.vkey, and my signing key, which will be drep.skey. So those are the credentials that identify me as a direp. Of course, I'm not registered, and I'm going to do that, but just for the example that I'm going to create now. So we said that we wanted to add the author, me, to the metadata of the proposal. And for that, we're going to use Cardano Signer. So let me just clear so that it's not at the bottom. For Cardano Signer, we're going to use Cardano Signer and sign. And we are going to sign in a specific type of document, which is a ZIP 100 compliant metadata file. So this gives us the help. So I need to provide the data file. Oh, I don't have autocomplete here, and I might make mistakes, but no problem. So how did I name my file? It was stake deposit proposal metadata JSON LD. This is the file that I'm going to pass as an argument. I need to provide my secret key. Of course, all of this can be done in an offline machine, and that's the good way to do it. Secret key, it is the drep.skey. Author name, not suitor, but author. And I'm going to use my drep.skey. And I'm going to create an out file. Does it need a dash? Yes. Out file. And let me just reuse the name, but with a slight change here, like dot sign. Dot JSON anything, perhaps not dot, but dash. Okay. Can't read stake deposit metadata, not valid JSON LD data. Oh, I did something wrong here. What happened? So I am missing something here. Ooh, this looks good. This is closing. Do I miss a comma somewhere? Oh, yes, not a comma, but I'm missing a colon here. It's very important to make sure that your JSON is well formatted or is valid JSON. Otherwise, you will get that particular error. Now, we can repeat, and now it works. So sometimes it's good in these tutorials to make errors because I can show you how to survive them, right? So it created the file that we wanted, the signed JSON LD, which we will explore in a minute, and it created the anchor hash. Remember that the anchor required the URL of the document and the anchor and the hash of this document. So we already got the hash of it. So let me just show you code stake deposit metadata signed JSON LD so that we can see what changed. Okay, so Cardano Signer added this bit. Oh, let me just redo something because it is better if I use, instead of author name, I use my actual name. Let's say Carlos Carlos, because I am not rat.sk, I am Carlos. So now, of course, the hash changed. And let me open that again. So there you go. It created the author section here with now my name. It includes a witness with a witness algorithm, which is the key type. In this case, this is my public key as a direp. And just for cat direp.vkey. So this is the CBOR encoding of my key. If you remove this, which is the actual CBOR part, you get the public key. This is the public key, and it should match what we see there. D17 for E, D17 for E, whatever. Okay? And it also added a signature. And this signature, basically, what happened internally? What happened in the background here? Okay, we created this body. This body was canonized and then hashed. If you go to SIP 108, you can learn about this canonization thing. So it canonized that. It got the hash of the canonized representation, and then we sign it with our sign-in key. We sign the hash of it. So this signature basically is hashing, is validating or signing this body. This will help downstream toolings to validate that, okay, there is a signature here. This signature corresponds to this public key. So the signature is or not valid according to the message that we are signing. And the message that we are signing is this one, okay? The body of it, the canonized version of it, is the message that we are signing. So now, next step, we need to put this metadata file in an anchor. An anchor is a URL and the hash. So we need to put this in a URL to be able to create the governance action. So for that, I'm going to use IPFS. And I'm going to import this file into IPFS, the stake deposit proposal. So I have a few examples there. And this is the one that we just created, D117. Yes, this is the one. Okay, so let me just now, what is it? Pin it to local node, apply, and I'm gonna get the seed of it. And this is a good moment for me to actually create a couple of things that we are gonna need later. First thing that we're gonna need is this environment variable. Oops. Something like this. So I'm creating this URI variable. And this is the URI, which this is the IPFS CID. And just export that. And the other thing is that Cardano-CLI will validate the hash of the document and stuff like that when we are creating the transaction. So because it's going to be an IPFS link, we need to set up the gateway. And there is a list of public gateways. This one in particular, 43s.link, usually works fine for me, but you may need to come to IPFS GitHub. Actually, let me just go to more, give you the query that you need to actually do. Is IPFS public gateway checker, and this is the status of the public gateways, and basically you want one that is in greens. So I am using W3S, all green should be fine to use. Okay, so I'm setting that environment variable because Cardano-CLI will need that to actually validate the hash when we do the governance action itself, or the proposal, if you wish. So for now, let me just use that. So now, we just put our metadata file in a URL using IPFS. So now, our next step is to get the hash. We already got the hash. Remember when we created this file, the signed file, the proposal, this one, we got the hash fit. But we want to make sure that everything is fine. And for that, we can use cardano-CLI again. Cardano-CLI hash anchor data, and you can use URL. And this is why we created this URI variable. So this will resolve to this URI, and this URI will use this IPFS gateway. Okay. Hopefully everything goes well. And there you go. We have the metadata hash. That information is very important because this is the last piece of information that we need to actually create the action file, the governance action file. Let me go back to the developers.cardano.org. And if you go down here, you will find tutorials for every type of proposal, including protocol parameters. So let me create the protocol parameters governance action. And I am going to use Cardano-CLI for that. So this is the command that I'm going to run. Cardano-CLI conway governance action create protocol parameters update. And this one will take a number of parameters. First, you need to specify whether it's mainnet or a testnet. In this case, it's a testnet. We will need to provide a governance action deposit. Just let me show you one thing that is important. I'm going to copy this command. If you go to the terminal again, if you run that, you will see all the options that this particular command can take. One that is very important that is not included in the command I copied is this one, which is the previous governance action and previous governance action index. Let me just copy this for now in a very silly way. And go back here. I'm just gonna drop it here for now. We're gonna need them in a minute. Okay, so we need the governance action deposit, and for that I'm just gonna query the node for the current protocol parameters governance action deposit. We need to specify the return stake key for the deposit. In this case, my stake credential, my stake verification file is going to be here. There you go. So we will need to remove this thing. And here we can use this variable we created, the URI, URI. We can use quote here, backslash, the anchor data. Got it just a minute ago. Again, it was this BC38. Let me go here. So we are going to replace this, with BC38. Perfect. Now we will need because this is a protocol parameter change, this one needs to run the guardrails script. And because this needs to run the guardrails script, we need the hash of the guardrails script. So for that, we go to Environments, I should have it here. Environments Cardano book. You should be familiar with this now. If not, well, I will add the link in the description. We are in preview testnet, and we have the compile guardrails script here. So I'm just going to download that. So it should be now in my download directory. This guardrails script, and we'll do cardano-CLI hash script file guardrails script.bluetooth, and of course this is the here. This is the one that we are going to use, which of course will match, but just in case. So we said that we wanted to raise this registration deposit to 3 ADA, and we are going to create this pp update.action. So this particular case will require that we provide these other flags as well. And the reason for that is that there has been a previously enacted governance action. And this particular one was when we updated the cost model for Bluetooth scripts. So let me just get rid of this. So we need to come back to the CLI again. City, let me use city preview, no, networks. Just in the right place. I'm going to query Conway query the governance state, gov state, and I'm gonna parse this thing with JQ. JQ is a nice tool that you definitely should have. JQ, and we are going to parse the next ratify state. We are interested in particular about the next enact state. This is we are basically getting into the structure of the governance state to get the information that we are interested in, which is the previous governance action, and it is prev gov action IDs. Next version of Cardano-CLI will have a query, which is Cardano-CLI Conway query next ratify state, or ratify state will be named. So it will simplify a lot of this, but for now, you just need to use this. And it will give you the previous governance actions that were enacted, and there is a protocol parameter update, and this is the governance action ID. So we will need to pass that as a flag here with governance action ID and the transaction ID, and the index is 0, okay? And with that, we should be ready to actually create our file, our pp-update.action. This is the one, this is the thing that we are creating, pp-update.action. Let me just copy this into the terminal and run it. Hopefully it won't have any errors. Yeah, it's all good. Let me clear the screen so that it's not at the bottom, and let me just cat pp-update. And this is the proposal, CBOR encoded. So most of us are not fluent in CBOR, so basically with Cardano-CLI, Conway, governance, action, view, action file, and this will give us the, we will need to pass the updated action. This is not a requirement, but it's a good practice for you to verify that the file that you created actually says what you are trying to say. So you have an anchor that contains a URL and a hash, the deposit, the governance action itself, which is, okay, it has this previous governance action. It has a deposit, it has a script, a guardrails script hash, a return address, and a network. Okay, so it looks good. So this one is basically ready to be included in a transaction. And that is exactly what we are gonna do now. If I have like 5 more minutes to do this, probably I can complete it. Let me go to this document again. If you go down here, you will find submitting a treasury withdrawal or protocol parameter update. This is the one that we are interested in because this one requires to run the guardrails script. In this case, we are going to use this, again, this work space to adjust these things. And so we downloaded the guardrails script downloads. In another video, I will show you how to do this with a reference script, but for now, let me just do this way. Downloads guardrails script.plutus. So this will need a collateral, and for the collateral, we will use a payment address. And let me just check what can I use here. Cardano-CLI Conway query UTXO-address, and the address that I am interested in is on the keys payment stake.addr. So I'm gonna use this second UTXO, which contains basically 500,000 ADA. I can actually just copy this UTXO, and I will replace all of this, which will work if you use it, but just for clarity, I will use that UTXO as my collateral. I will use the very same UTXO as transaction input for the transaction fees and the deposit. My change address, it is one directory above this one, and it is keys payment stake.address. This is the name of my file that contains my address. And as I said, this address is associated to a stake address, and that stake address is already registered on chain. This is not subject of this particular tutorial. So now I am ready to hopefully create this governance action transaction. Hopefully nothing will fail. And final inspection, proposal script file downloads, guardrails script.plutus. Okay, I think it's looking good. I don't see anything wrong, but CLI will tell us, no, everything seems well. And from here, we just need to cardano-CLI, Conway, transaction, sign. What are we going to sign? Well, we're going to sign this. And there's a TX file, pparams TX row. We need a signing key file. And in this particular case, again, it is keys payment.ascii. And we will need an out file, which we can rename pparams.tx.signed. Okay. And from here, we just need cardano-CLI, Conway, transaction, submit a TX file, which is pparams tx.signed. Hopefully everything goes well. Transaction successfully submitted. That's great. Now, let me just query the UTXO of my payment Just waiting for a block here. Waiting for a block, waiting for a block. There is a block. So yes, if I query this transaction ID, this will be the transaction ID of my proposal. And you see that the deposit has already been discounted. It had 500,000, now it's 400K. So if I go to GovTools, for example, but not this one, but this one, I should be able to find my proposal here. Of course, it's not instantaneous. It requires some time, a little bit of a, hey, yes, there it is. Change stake address deposit to 3 ADA. This proposes to raise the stake address deposit from 2 ADA to 3 ADA. Yes, view details and vote. So yes, this proposes to raise the stake address deposit, blah, blah, blah. I need a governance action for this tutorial. This is the most interesting type of governance action. Making stake address 3 ADA will be fun. Okay, so it is properly rendered and in GovTools, and this should also show an explorers like preview Cardano scan. And there you go, there it is. It is a governance proposal, a protocol parameter change, has a collateral because it ran the script, everything is looking good. And well, yeah. Let's explore the governance action itself. So yeah, it's proposing to raise the stake deposit to 3 ADA. Everything is looking good now. See? So yes, guys. So basically, this is the process that you need to follow to create a governance action. And if you manage to create a proposal that creates a protocol parameter change, you are able to create any type of governance action. This is it for today, guys. Thank you very much for joining. Please join the Discord channel if you have any questions, or if you need more tutorials, or if you need help with anything. Just let us know. Join the Discord channel, join the API CLI group, and let us know what you need, and we will be happy to help. Okay, so see you next time. Thank you very much. Hasta la vista.